Hey there, Simone here with Bulletproof Business Growth, as always with some ideas and insights, what to pay attention to when you're growing and scaling your business. So today the title of this podcast is the AI Takeover, Tool or Trap. And the core message here is, look, AI isn't coming. It's already here. And small business owners who ignore it will soon feel like the last people refusing to use email. But it's isn't just a shortcut. It is a complete paradigm shift. And look, used well, it absolutely frees you to lead, to strategize, to do actually the things that you should be doing as the business owner. But used poorly, it turns your business into a robotic shell, and the choice is kind of yours, and you have to figure out how you run this going forward. So let me ask you something that might hurt a little. Like, what if the only thing standing between you and the business you say you want is your refusal to create white space? And we talked a little bit about that last week already, and I picked this up again because I just think it's super important. Because you need white space to think, to reimagine the way you run your company, and of course to lead. You can't do this alone, and your team is so dependent on you as a leader to become really the team they can be. Look, and AI here isn't a future disruptor. It's already woven into how businesses grow and scale and compete in 2025. And the companies who are not integrating it, they're falling behind, and they're doing that fast. So here's the nuance though that most people miss. AI is not a solution by itself. It's a force multiplier. It takes whatever system, habits, and leadership that you already have and scales them. So if those foundations, of course, are weak, well, AI makes the cracks even bigger. If your systems are strong, AI strengthens them even more for you. So if you don't actively shape how AI works inside your business, it will shape your business without you. And that's going to get like worse and worse or stronger and stronger as we go on. So we're not just talking about tools here anymore. We're talking about a shift in what it means to lead. Because if you don't adopt AI to what is possible, your competitors will. And they'll do it faster and cheaper and with less operational drag than you can imagine. So today we're going to look at both sides, how AI can free you and how it can trap you. It's like, is it the tool or is it the trap? And most importantly, the questions you need to be asking before it is too late. So remember when people resisted using email or buying things online or managing their calendar from their phone? Every time a technology changes the game, we go through this predictable arc: denial, skepticism, and then rapid adoption. And AI is this next big shift that's already here, but this one is different. It's not just changing how you communicate or buy things, it's changing how decisions get made, how people interact, and how leadership looks. Small business owners, especially in their 50s and 60s, especially those who built their companies the old school way, are understandably cautious and feeling a little insecure about it and resistant to the whole shift. Or for many, what I hear is not just those things, it's also that they don't really know, like, what are the good things to actually take and use, and what are the things. It's a very overwhelming world. There's so many different things to look at. And look, you didn't grow up automating workflows or building remote first teams. You're good at reading people, building relationships, solving problems in real time. That's your genius. That's what you built your business on. That's why people work with you. But what if that genius is getting drowned in emails, texts, tasks, and meetings, which is what happens to many of our clients before we start working together. So what if the real cost is not using AI, isn't falling behind in technology, it's falling behind in leadership? And I'm going to put a real stinger in there, because you most likely have already been falling behind in leadership for a long time. It's this thing that you keep putting off, that you keep thinking you're going to do when you're bigger, when you're better, when you're further along, when your revenue is bigger, when your sales are greater, all that kind of stuff. And it never comes really into your operations. And so that's why your operations are stalled where they are. Because look, this is what AI can do. Write internal SOPs, generate meeting summaries, draft proposals, manage reminders, organize content and ideas, and automate repetitive team communication, like all the kind of stuff that many of us would rather stick a needle in our eye than deal with. So that means that you stop when you get all that stuff moved over. That means you stop spending mental energy on low value decisions, and you start investing in high value leadership. So if you're still the one who's pushing tasks, chasing updates, managing the minutia, you're robbing your company of the one thing AI can't give you, which is your strategic brain and your charm, your charisma, your connection and humanness that is so important in influencing the people that you work with, all your customers, whether it's the person that's buying from you or your team or your investors or your partners, your affiliates, whoever it is, right? So a few days ago, Inc. magazine published an article about Duolingo's rollout of AI features. I mean, it's already been heavily AI influenced for a long time, but they didn't just tweak their app, they introduced entire learning paths powered by generative AI. And the twist here is users pushed back, not because the AI was inaccurate, but because it felt less human, less connective, less engaging, and less like what they had been buying and using for so long. So even digital first products like Duolingo, people missed the people. So that lesson is critical for small business owners as we move along with this and as we pick up on this stuff, because AI will never build trust, right? It will never replace warmth, empathy, intuition, inspiration, that connection element that we all thrive on as humans. But what it can do is it can do the repetitive work that stands in between you and that human connection that you need to have the time for to actually use. Like, just think about, your daily grind, what you do all day, like write 12 versions of the same email, following up on no-shows or on phone calls you've already had, chasing internal updates, my favorite, right? Running basic reports, answering questions your SOP should already cover. So all this stuff that, it doesn't sound like much. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but most of you will know what I'm talking about, because that's when you get to the end of the day and you're wondering, what the heck did I actually do all day? Certainly not something productive, certainly not something that really pushed the needle in your business. You did all the busy work. So all of that can be automated, streamlined, or co-created, and that's my favorite, with AI. And what does that really buy you? It buys you time, it buys you presence, and it buys you intention. So you can have more effective sales calls and spend more time with your high value clients. So you can coach your managers and produce more leaders, right? Create more leaders within your team so that you can really mentor your next operator and your team in a way where it truly makes a difference. So Duolingo's mistakes was not using AI. It was assuming AI could replace human presence. So what if you use AI to clear the noise and show up as a stronger human? You win. And that is really what I want to dive into. So And I know you might be thinking, that's great, but my team just isn't that strategic. They're not ready for this level of ownership. Well, let me challenge that. Your team likely is not the issue. They're operating in a system that just doesn't allow them to rise. Here's what most teams are missing. And this is where AI can really help you out and build it. Any of you who've been following me for a while, you've heard this before. They're the 5 C's of a strategic team. So clarity, right? What's expected, and everybody needs this, no matter what level producer, no matter what level operator they are, right? They need clarity, which means what's expected of me? What does success actually look like, right? So they need to have really clear goals and expectations and understanding of what does success mean. Second one is context. Why does this matter in the bigger picture? Without context, they can't think bigger, they can't make connections, they can't answer their own questions, they can't make better moves, they're always dependent on you. Communication, right? How do we stay aligned without constant micromanagement? That's a really big one. Certainty. What are the rules of the game? What won't change? And that's where your leadership becomes so important, that certainty aspect where you are leading the charge. They know that they're following somebody who knows what's going on and who they trust. And then 5 is consistency. How do we build momentum over time? Because we all know that, especially when you go through a change phase, for some people it's like, oh God, there's this thing that we're doing and we're doing something different every month. Let's just wait till it passes. But when you as the leader show up with a lot of clarity and certainty and all those other things I just mentioned, that means your team actually gets, hey, she means this. We're going to show up for this and we're going to make this change together. So, because without these 5 C's, your team just flails. They rely on you for every next move. They stall when priorities shift, because you might know that priorities shift or have shifted or how to shift them, but you fail to communicate that at a level where your team actually understands what that means to them. So now they're not coming along with you. They're far behind, and you're wondering why you have to make all the moves. They struggle to stay focused and aligned and proactive. But here's the brutal truth. Even if you know the 5 C's, you'll never implement them if you're buried in low value chaos. And that is most of you. And that's really where AI can step in, not to build the culture for you. That's never going to work, but to give you the white space to build it yourself. So you can use AI to create repeatable onboarding systems, automated progress tracking, task handoffs, internal communication guides, and even training scripts. And once those systems are in place, that means you can now stop being the walking instruction manual. You can stop being the chief reminding and repeating officer. You can start being the leader that your team can actually learn from, and then can help them grow and get better and better and better and support and contribute in a higher and higher level. So let's imagine something bold. You get 20% of your week back. No gimmicks, no outsourcing, just space. What would you do? Most business owners say they'd work on strategy, invest in their team, develop new products, or fix recurring headaches that they've just kind of been tolerating because they never get to actually fixing them. But when that white space finally shows up, most fill it with busy work. Why? Because without structure, white space becomes anxiety. It becomes guilt. It becomes avoidance, because you don't actually know what that next move is that actually would push the needle, because you haven't spent any time thinking about it, because you haven't had the time, the bandwidth, the energy, or even the desire, because you're so burned out and tired that more strategy, more work just means more work on you, and you're actually avoiding it, right? And then when you have that little bit of space, you feel guilty if you're not like hunkering down and working hard. But I've been talking about this for a few weeks now. We just created this incredible new tool, the AI Business Scaling Blueprint, and that's where this comes in. And I'm not just talking about this as a selling tool. This is truly what could change your life and business and do a ton of this heavy lifting for you. Because it doesn't just free up your time, it gives you the format to make that time really count. So how to organize your team's roles, how to use AI to document and refine processes, how to coach your people without over-functioning, how to track process progress without managing every single detail. And the result that you get from this here is a more self-led team, which is what I'm sure all of you would love, a more focused business where actually everybody is focused on the same vision, on the same priorities, and has ownership over it, and a more present visionary you, which is what's absolutely needed if you want to grow or scale, right? There's no scaling without a more present visionary you. And it all just starts with a fraction more breathing room each and every week. Because once you stack that, it incrementally builds up that white space that we're talking about. Another big thing, of course, that comes with that is identity. So let's talk about identity, because this is the shift that AI is really forcing here. Are you the operator of your business, or are you the catalyst? Operators fix, manage, catalysts spark, empower, align. So most business owners are stuck in the operator role, in the operator mode, because they've never had any structure to be anything else. They've never really understood what that means. But imagine you use AI to generate and assign weekly plans. Your team updates progress without you chasing them. Your dashboards auto-report KPIs that you care about. Your internal communications are streamlined and templated. So, what would you do with that space? You could coach, you could vision, you could deepen relationships, and remember how important that is. And when that happens, your people step up. They stop waiting for direction. They start thinking bigger. AI is not here to replace your team or you, but it is here to replace your excuses. And that shift from operator to catalyst is how companies become scalable, sustainable, and magnetic. And that's the only way you can scale. So the AI revolution here is not about robots taking over. I mean, it may be at some point or not, I don't know, but not right now. It's about who gets to spend their time thinking bigger. You can let AI trap you in surface level automation, or you can use it to design a company that doesn't just survive, but thrive. So start by reclaiming your white space. Give your team the 5 C's that we just talked about, and use AI to buy back the thinking time that you've been starving for. And of course, check out the AI Business Scaling Blueprint, because it'll set you up to win every little step. It's the structure you need to empower your team, amplify your leadership, and finally build a business that runs without running you into the ground. Because the future isn't human or AI. It's human plus AI. You bring the vision, let AI buy you back your bandwidth. That's how modern leadership scales. So I really hope this helped a lot. Go to aibusinessscalingblueprint.com, all one word. Yes, there's 3 S's somewhere in there. aibusinessscalingblueprint.com. Check that out. And I would really encourage you to spend some time sitting with this, because this is your chance to have a company that's exactly what you want it to be, that's scalable and sustainable and a whole lot of fun, where you can actually focus on what you do best, and so does everybody else. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.